Hello, tonight we read in Revelations 20 and Proverbs 8. And you're in Revelations 20 right now, so please begin.
Well, I had the pleasure of tuning in for a few minutes earlier today in the homegoing service of a police officer. And not only was I interested, because if I had a second son, his name would have been this man's name, Titus. And he was the Chicago police who was found deceased, and it found out that he had COVID, Titus Moore. And it was very interesting the way he was described as being quiet, reserved to himself, but yet smart. He went to Walt Disney Magnet School and then Whitney Young, and then went to City College and followed in his father's footsteps as far as going into the police force. Even if that's the case, in chapter 20, all of us are going to see that we all have the same appointment. And it says in verse 13, it says, "And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged, every man according to their works." So no matter who it is, all of us are going to answer to the Lord one day. Like I said, my mom used to say this all the time: Michelle, you're going to have to give an account of that, this action and this word. And again, in verse 12, it says, "And I saw the dead, and great," it could be people who are well known. My son said, well, he might not have known that many people. Or people who were not well known or small, stand before God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books. That's sobering. So this is just a dot. This is just a comma. This is just a dash, what we're living right now. We have to live alert and awake and sober, knowing that one day we would have to respond to our Maker. So let's live not in fear, but cognizant of all of our choices so that it glorifies God. What do you have to say about this chapter?
I don't really have to say too much about that.
There was something that was said at the homegoing, the person who was officiating, a woman who was very dynamic. She said, and she gave an illustration. She said that someone took a class before they took the final, they took the midterm, they did all the projects, all the assignments, all the quizzes, right? They did all this good work, extra credit. But then at the end, they were like, okay, I got my A. And the instructor said, there's something wrong. And they were like, well, what was it? I mean, I get my A. I got an A out of everything. Sounds familiar. Well, what happened was that the person was never registered for the class, so they didn't get credit. So we could do all this good in life, right? But if we don't accept the Lord as our Savior and get in alignment with our Creator, then when that time comes, we're like, yeah, I did this, I did that. And he said, you know what? I never knew you. What's the point? So let's make sure that we are in right relationship, because all this is a vapor, and we go back. And we want to make sure, not so much that we're doing things out of works and for credit, but we want to make sure that God is glorified in our life, and that we can hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. Proverbs 8. What spoke to you, my dear?
I don't want to be repetitive, so from last month, but I'll probably just speak on what you got to say.
I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Not only early in life, but early as far as age, early as far as the day, early. Let's not delay and put off a relationship with our Creator, because we don't want to get to the 11th hour and not have that peace, because we're seeing so many people transition. We want to be able to go on in the serenity of the Lord. Now, what do you have to say about that, son?
I like that. because I think it's even more important, like, to make a change in life, or I'm saying, because you can live your whole life or whatever, wasting time, but as long as you, even just a day at least, just doing some good work for God's people, like, so you don't have to do things early in life, but waking up early is a good habit, and the early bird gets the worm.
All right, the early bird gets the worm, and make sure that we are connected early with the creator of that worm, the creator of the bird, the creator of our souls, because what we see will not last, but that which we not see, that is the thing that is eternal, our soul and eternity. All right, have a wonderful evening serving the Lord, enjoying his presence and his goodness.